unfortunate thing is that we get coaches who have legit opportunities and real needs at quarterback, like the Washington Redskins just recently because of the injury to Alex Smith. And what do? And also, let's not forget the now injury to Colt McCoy. What do? They bring in Mark Sanchez, who also hadn't played since 2016. And Mark Sanchez, we all know, can't play quarterback in the National Football League, at least not as effectively as he did for the first 2 years with the New York Jets when they had that fantastic running game. And they just signed Josh Johnson, who, by the way, was supposed to play in Alliance of American Football because he bounced around to 16 other teams, maybe not that many, but a lot of other teams over the last couple of years and just could never stick. Even though he was with the Giants for training camp. But this is Jay Gruden when asked about why Colin Kaepernick wasn't considered when all of this desperate need for a quarterback existed for his Washington Redskins team.
It's been discussed, for sure. Right now at this point, we already had the workout last week with a few guys. We had a couple other guys coming in today. And then, this is going to be a matter of which way we want to go. Do we want to go with the guys familiar with my terminology, who we worked out last week, or with the new guy to back up Sanchez with a similar skill set, or go with the guy and teach basically a whole new kind of offense with a new offensive lineman with a lot of the zone reads and all that stuff. So not a lot of time to really get a brand new quarterback, a new system installed and taught in a couple days of practice. So these are talked about and discussed, but we'll probably go a different direction.
Now, I like Jay Gruden. I think he's a really good coach. He was a great player when he was in the Arena League. I think he's got tons of influences, including his brother, this West Coast offense that he likes to run, his ability to get running backs engaged, and move out of the pocket, and utilize tight ends. Be smart with the football. But he positions this as if football is the most complicated thing on the face of the planet. Like you're going to learn how to launch a rocket into space. Football was once described to me by one of my great favorite coaches. He said, Tikki, we're just a bunch of PE majors coaching PE majors. It's football. My kid's high school runs offenses that are similar. Maybe not the same terminology, maybe not the same complexity, but similar to what they play in the National Football League or they play in college. It's football. Especially for a guy who's done it before, I'm sure he can pick it up. Now, the argument that we've had a guy invested on our team, we spent a lot of time with this guy. He's grown under our system. He's been here for a couple of years, or he knows our system. It's familiar with what we used to do. It belies the truth about the National Football League. That is, it's a meritocracy. Why would you have an inferior player on your squad because he knows your system when there's a superior player available? One who's been to a championship, one who's one of the most dynamic, or at least used to be one of the most dynamic players in football, took his team to a Super Bowl, was that far, really about that far away from winning a Super Bowl against the Baltimore Ravens. Why would you settle for inferiority and then lie about it? And that's really my biggest problem. As it coaches, when they get asked this question about Colin Kaepernick, they lie. Just say, like Tom Coughlin did, we don't want him. We're not interested. He has too much baggage, social, emotional, whatever, fan base-wise. Say it as it is. Now, I know that collusion case is hanging over their head. There's this collective ignoring of Colin Kaepernick that goes on in the National Football League. It may not be collusion, but it is certainly happening. So they can't necessarily, they think they can, but don't pretend that we believe that Colin Kaepernick can't learn a system, that the guy who's inferior, Mark Sanchez or Josh Johnson, who you bring in, are better than this guy is going to be. It's just not true. And here's the bigger issue that's going to be faced by a lot of these teams, I think potentially the league in totality. We know what Colin Kaepernick has become. He was an exciting, dynamic player for the San Francisco 49ers. Jim Harbaugh did a fantastic job of getting him up to speed and one of the dynamic elite players at the position. even though it was ahead of the curve, so to speak, with all the things that he was doing. We see it a lot now with quarterbacks, but back then we didn't see it. We also know that he took a stance against the illegal murdering of African Americans in certain communities in this country, and then took a knee to demonstrate it. And it created a movement that's been going on for almost 3 years now. And more likely than not, we're going to remember Colin Kaepernick for that than any of those other things that happened on the football field, whether it's a Super Bowl or the game against the Green Bay Packers or whatever you want to remember about his athletic skill. His iconoclast nature is going to be remembered more than his football skill. And the unfortunate thing is that history is going to judge the NFL very poorly when it comes to this. Cap's not going away. It's been 3 years, and whenever someone's starting quarterback gets hurt, who is the first person that fans or media or common perception about the National Football League calls on to come and be their, not savior, but their fill-in? Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is not going to go away. But if coaches or GMs or owners ultimately don't want him, don't lie about it. Because you make us look like idiots, and we're not idiots. We're just fans of PE, watching PE majors. Tikki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Oliver Luck's going to come up in a couple of segments here. But I want to get your calls, 855-212-4227. Tell me what you think. Should Cap be back? I think he should. But a lot of the teams, and a lot of the GMs, a lot of the players think he should. A lot of the GMs and owners do not. We'll be back.